Hi y'all, we're going to continue with, I'm calling this the Peace, Love, Joy, what's the name of this collection? The Peace, Love, Joy Christmas Bells album. Today we're going to work on fin number 2. This is page number 5, and I've already done quite a bit of prep work, as you can see here. Our base page is going to be 7.5 inches this way by 7 inches this way. We're going to score it at 1/2 inch here. All right, this section here is 7.5 inches this way by 7 inches this way, and we're going to score this piece at 1/2 inch. We're also going to go ahead and take care of the scoring for all of the other pieces. So this piece is 7 inches in both directions, and we're going to pick one of the 7-inch sides and score that at 1/2 inch. This piece is 3.5 inches this way and 8 inches this way. We're going to score the 8-inch side at 1/2 inch and 7.5 inches. And the 3.5 inch side we're going to score at 1/2 inch. This piece is 3.5 inches wide by 7.5 inches tall. We're going to score this at 1/2 inch and 7 inches. And again at 1/2 inch. This piece is 1 inch wide by 8 inches. We're going to score the 8-inch side at 1/2 inch and 7.5 inches. And this piece is 6 inches wide by 7.25 inches tall, and we're going to score the 7.25 inch side at 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. This is basically how it's going to fit together. There's going to be a belly band here holding everything down. This page will flip up, and the belly band is going to be attached to this flip out here. This page will flip out this way. This page will flip out this way, and we're going to have pockets. There'll be a pocket here and a pocket here. So let's go ahead and start getting everything assembled. I think the first thing that I need to do is go ahead and glue this side down and then glue this side down, and then I'll be able to glue this piece over the top of the two, and then we're going to need to start matting some stuff before we glue pockets down. These pieces are different sizes, and I didn't mention which one was which size. This is the piece that's 7.5 inches by 7. We scored it at 1/2 inch, so the final folded piece is 7 by 7 overall. This piece is the one that is 7 by 7, but we scored this one of the 7-inch sides at 1/2 inch, so it's overall going to be 6.5 inches wide by 7 inches tall. That's the one that's going to go here adjacent to the spine. And then this is the 110-pound cardstock that's 6 inches wide by 7.25 inches tall. And we've trimmed it down to a footprint of basically 6.5 inches tall by 6 inches wide. Ready to start gluing down some mats. So this mat is 6 3/4 inches all the way around, and I cut out the center because that's not going to be visible. And if you're concerned about all of it staying together, that open area would be a really good place to lay down a magnet. Okay, so since this is 6 3/4 by 6 3/4, this I trimmed down to 6.5 by 6.5. It's going to lay right there. And one of the problems that I've discovered with this particular collection is that almost every piece of paper in this collection is very directional, either because there are images on there that obviously have a bottom and a top, or because there's words. So that's going to be a struggle for me for the rest of this album, making sure that I've got enough pattern paper to cover the areas that I want to cover. And I think I found a solution for that when I was trimming out the 65 pound pieces for this paper. I took the leftovers that I wasn't able to repurpose or use somewhere else on this fin at least, and you'll see coming up what I did with those. This size mat is also going to be showing up over here on this paper, and I think we're going to use just a full 6 3/4 by 6 3/4 for that mat. We've also got 2 mats cut to 5 3/4 by 6 1/4, and 1 mat cut to 6 3/4 by 4 inches, 1 cut to 6 3/4 by 2 3/4, and a mat cut to 6 1/4 by 4, a mat cut to 6 1/4 by 2 3/4, and 6 1/4 by 6 3/4. Might be easier if I just go through and explain which mats are going to go where. So on this page, we're going to need a 6 3/4 by 4 inch mat up here at the top, and then on the pocket that's going along the bottom here, we're going to need 6 3/4 by 2 3/4. Okay, for this piece, we're going to need a mat that's 5 3/4 inches wide by 6 1/4 inches tall. We're going to need 1 for each side. And on this piece, we're going to need a mat up here at the top that is 6 1/4 inches wide by 4 inches tall. And then on the pocket, we're going to need a mat that's 6 1/4 inches wide by 2 3/4 inches tall. And then on the front piece here, it's going to be 6 1/4 by 6 3/4. And the belly band that's going to go on this piece, I've got a mat cut to, I think it's 3/4 of an inch top to bottom by 6 3/4 inches. And here's where you're going to start to see my solution to the potential problem of running a little bit low on pattern paper. I'm going to see if I can find this folder. I know I'm pretty sure I purchased this at Joann's. With this, I ran the leftover scraps from when I was trimming out the 65 pound pieces through my die cutting machine on the embossing, in an embossing sandwich. And then I went over the embossed papers with Distress Oxides in Evergreen Bough, Candied Apple, and Worn Lipstick. This is interesting because apparently I did not cut something correctly. So this is supposed to be 6 3/4. Which piece? This piece is supposed to be 6 3/4 by 2 3/4, and it is obviously not even close. So I'm going to go see if I can find a pattern, something that I've got enough left that I can mat that, but that's not urgent right now. I don't need to do that before I take the next step, so we'll follow up with that later. As I was choosing the materials that I was going to use for this page, I realized that I had introduced this washi tape in the previous fin, and I wanted to make sure that it showed up in more places than that. And some of the pattern papers that I made for the first fin are going to show up later in the book, probably not on this fin, but definitely on later fins, as will this pattern here. And I will probably do something similar to this on these pages here. And I will be putting a decorative element here to cover up this gap. This is a piece of the branding strip. This is how it's going to close up, and that'll hold everything together. I need to fix the issue with this mat here. And I was thinking if this was wide enough, then I could just use more washi tape. Now, by the way, I did not plan to do this. If I had been thinking about it a little more carefully, I would have chosen a different piece over here. But yeah, I'm really going to end up being challenged by just how directional this paper is. Okay, I found a solution that I like. This piece is 6 3/4 inches wide by 2.5 inches tall. So I'm going to glue it down here, and then I'm going to take that washi tape, and I'm going to glue it down here. I'm going to take that washi tape and I'm going to go along the top here on both sides, and that'll help create a little separation between the two sections. I'm going to guess that none of that got audio recorded because my wireless mic turned itself off. So that's awesome. So before my camera dies, let's go over what these measurements were. Okay, this piece here is 5 3/4 wide by 7 inches tall, scored at 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch. This piece here is 3 1/2 inches wide by 8 inches tall. On the 3 1/2 inch side, it's scored at 1/2 inch. On the 8 inch side, it's scored at 1/2 inch and 7 1/2 inches. This pocket here is 4 1/2 inches wide by 8 inches tall. On the 4 1/2 inch side, it's scored at 1/2 inch, and on the 8 inch side, it's scored at 1/2 inch and 7 1/2 inches. This piece here, this big piece here is 9 1/2 inches wide by 7 inches tall. On the 9 1/2 inch side, it's scored at 1/2 inch and 5 1/2 inches. And then this mat is 4 3/4 inches by 6 3/4 inches, and there are 3 of these at this size. So you'll see this size here, here, and here. And then this piece that I'm about to glue down is 2 3/8 of an inch by 3 3/8 of an inch. And this is just a cut apart from the collection that I'm going to attach on top of it. And then we'll attach a similar mat here. This mat is 2 inches wide by 6 3/4 inches tall. This mat is 3 3/4 inches wide by 6 3/4 inches tall. And there are 2 or 3 of these. 3. There are 3 of these because this mat is also going to show up on this page here, I think. No, I beg your pardon. This mat is 3 inches wide by 6 3/4 inches tall. Then the mat that's going to go on this pocket is going to be 3 3/4 by 6 3/4, and we'll use the same size on this flap over here on both sides. And the mat for this pocket is going to be 2 3/4 inches wide by 6 3/4 inches tall.